Hi handsome and welcome to my 18th video. This one is a bit of a standalone, but you can think of it as the final part of the Should Lifeskills Make More Money mini-series. Today, we are going to be doing a little bit of theory crafting and imagining things. Let's talk about the problems with life skills and how to fix them. Before we begin, just another reminder that I have started a new series over at twitch.tv. I put you guys here and it looked like we are going to be calling it the Iron Pan Challenge. I already made a video detailing some of it, so go watch that if you are interested, and I hope to see you live on stream. I don't have a schedule for the streaming yet, since this is mostly a hobby for me and having a schedule would make it feel like a job. But I stream almost every day during the European evening to night hours. At least a couple hours every day. Alright, enough with the shameless plug. Time to talk about life skills. One thing I need to mention before we begin is that the problems are not necessarily only tied to life skill profitability. While money per hour does play a part in some of the issues of some life skills, there are also other ways to improve life skills as a whole. Also, this goes without saying, but these are all just my opinions and my own ideas. You might have your own ideas and I will be more than happy to hear them. Now, I am also not naive. I know that Pearl Abyss is not going to listen to a nobody like me, nor do I expect them to make these changes even if a bigger creator went to make similar points. Think of this video as more of a wish list than a list of demands and suggestions. Alright, let's start with the main issue that plagues most life skills. The very close ties to the central market, or to put it the other way, the lack of trash loot. This is a problem in two ways. First, for gathering and hunting, this creates large discrepancies between grind spots, which are made all the worse considering that there are no mastery level requirements to get to this spot, so if a spot is better than the other, it will stay that way all the way from 0 mastery to 2000 mastery. This leads to the other problem I have. There is no reason to do the other content. Lumbering and tanning don't really exist in the game, mining has a single popular spot, and even butchering and bloodsucking don't have that varied a roster of spots. The general lack of gathering rotations is also a symptom of this issue of being tied to the central market. Hunting is even worse than gathering, by the way. You do grass rhinos for EXP and you do shadow lions for money, with maybe sometimes doing sniper hunting. Sniper hunting, by the way, has only one good spot, which was added in Land of the Morning Light. It has another spot, which I bet you don't even know existed until now. Every single non-Narcion spot is completely dead, except maybe Frost Wolves, and these spots that are dead never get updated. And since the only way to get money from hunting is through the central market, one way or another, whether you are selling the raw goods or you are cooking or alchemizing it, they get abandoned and left to rot. Cooking, alchemy and processing are just byproducts of their active counterparts. If a recipe has no use, the ingredients don't get gathered and both life skills suffer as a consequence. This is not helped by the general lack of new recipes added into the game that would help some of these struggling hunting and gathering spots tied to these activities. This then results to complete stagnation of all of the involved life skills, where recipe and spots that were good 3 or sometimes even 4 or 5 years ago are still good today. I think the general stagnations we see in life skills has many symptoms, but the source will always be the close ties to the central market. What we then generally see happen is that everyone does the same couple of recipes and the same couple of hunting and gathering rotations because everything else is seen as worthless, and it oftentimes is worthless. So that is the problem, but now the question is, how do we actually fix this? Well, let's start with an easy fix. There are two actually. First, balance the prices of items on the central market. For example, why are logs max priced at 14,000 silver each, but stone is at 25,000? Why is lion meat somehow 40,000, but the marmot meat only 20? This wouldn't really solve the core issue, but it might be just enough of a reason to go to those other spots. Second, and this is more out there, raise or outright remove the limit of imperial deliveries. This would have a big impact early on, as people would scramble to buy everything they can from the central market, but for the longevity of the game and the system, not only would this keep the central market prices decently high, everyone would have the choice of either selling on the central market for maybe a little bit more money, or get the guaranteed money from boxes, kind of similar to what the horse market is like. Simply removing the limit might be too much and the system would need some more adjusting, but otherwise it would be a fine way to help these life skills decouple themselves from the central market. Now, for gathering, there is a third kind of option: increase the drop rate and or the price of fairy powder. This is the de facto threshold of gathering, but getting like 5 to 10 million silver an hour from the powder is just ridiculous. Either add another zero to the price, or make it a guaranteed drop on every gather. Oh, and give us a processing byproduct already. Make it 10 byproducts for like 3 metal solvents or little glazes or whatever, and 900 contribution, and then maybe like 1 kafras or something. Alright, let's go into something that's a little bit harder, but I still think is feasible and doable. Here, it all boils down to more recipes and more viable rotations. Creating a new recipe that uses ingredients currently in low demand could help make a healthier economy. More rotations will give people a wider variety of content, which could also get them to try life skills in the first place. So it would be a win-win for everyone. The other possibility is to introduce a new way of offloading unwanted ingredients, trading them for other items or perhaps even consumable buffs. Like imagine getting a mastery buff for giving the black spirit 1000 wolf hide or 1000 iron ore or some other high supply, low demand item. This would result in the same outcome as the previous fix, but it wouldn't include the central market at all. Now, we have to talk about the hard fixes, or something that I would just really wish to have in the game, but I don't think will ever happen. First of all, hunting spots for different things than just animals. Imagine like a hunting spot for treants from Mirumok or even Offins, right before they remove the matchlock mechanic from Offin Tet. Or stone golems that you could kill and then lumber or mine for their specific resources. This could be done for gathering as well. They already have some mobs that you can mine on lumber. Their loot table is just extremely terrible. Introducing a new rock crab or treant location could help as well. If we added trash loot to these crabs or treants or what have you, that would also be pretty awesome and would also help remove the central market need. Some of you will say that this is not removing the central market dependency, which was the core issue, and I agree. What would actually remove it without completely changing the game works would be adding a new life skill. I have 2 new life skills in mind. The first one is breeding, or in other words, creating pets. Imagine you get like your Tamagotchi, and then based on what you feed it, it has an increasing chance of becoming a pet of a given type. Like giving it feathers would make it a possible bird pet, giving it wolf hide would make it a dog or a wolf pet, underwater items would make it a turtle or a fish. We could also introduce new types of pets this way, like pet rocks, pet robots, pet treants, what have you. We could have special combinations, like giving the Tamagotchi items from a specific zone would have a chance to become a version of a monster from that zone. So like giving it Camasylvia items like Nocrocs and Lapis Lazuli would give it a chance to become Munchauns or the Ash Forest monsters. Please don't do that. Or imagine giving it silver and iron and you would make a silver golem. You give them feathers, lion meat and snake blood and you get a chimera. There would be so many possibilities. I am getting excited just thinking about what could be, and you can probably hear that. Now, the second possible life skills I don't really have a name for, but it would be something similar to treasure hunting. Basically, imagine every time you kill an animal or gather an object, you have a chance to get a rare item. But to know what the rare item actually is, you would need some regular materials from the same object to compare and research. So let's say you find a fossil in a rock and you need like 500 copper and iron ore to be sure it's actually a fossil. Or you find some rare type of wood and you need to collect timber from all the other trees in the region to know what it is. Or you get tusks from elephants and need to know how valuable they are by comparing them to other tusks. You can find meat that tastes better than the regular red meat but you need to give the chef other red meat to compare the tastes. This could go even further, so that when you make food or potions with these ingredients, they have better effects, or maybe they last longer, or they can actually be sold on the market, but instead you would need to find a person who deals with these items, or maybe a collector, and maybe you can even with alchemy, you can enter the black market and become BDOs like Walter White or Heisenberg by selling your special snuff, let's say, to the NPCs. This would complicate the game somewhat, and I know that Perlibis is not really looking forward to complicate the game further. In fact, they are doing the exact opposite. So if the previous life skill was a wish, this is nothing more than a fantasy for me, sadly. That's the most exciting part of the video over, and we only have some smaller issues to talk about. First, gathering has a problem with energy. I already made a video on this, so feel free to give it a watch. I don't think removing energy is a good idea, however, as it would actually just completely kill the life skills in the long term. So the energy issue is an issue without a solution, in my opinion. For what it's worth, I think gathering in terms of energy is in a decent spot right now, and all gathering really needs is that extra 0 on fairy powder, like I mentioned. Hunting, alchemy and cooking could also use a life skill tool. Why they still don't have one is beyond me. Hunting could just get the mastery from the butchering knife, or they could just get their own hunting knife to differentiate the life skills, right? And alchemy and cooking could get their tools, or the house utensils that you are already using could be the thing that gives the mastery. You could even have your own special cooking or alchemy utensil that you could upgrade and repair with different materials to incorporate the other life skills. Finally, make processing mastery matter. While processing has a tool to increase mastery, but the other 3 life skills I mentioned don't, I just never understand. Literally all processing mastery does is that it makes mass processing faster. What a waste. Those are the 5 main life skills out of the way. I won't talk about trading that much because it's getting reworked, so we can only hope it's good. Personally, I don't like the idea of it becoming just land bartering, because then both bartering and trading lose their appeal, and you might as well remove trading altogether if all you're going to do with it is just copy-paste bartering on top of it. I think combining regular trading with the worker crates that we have could actually be the way to go. Imagine you buy an item at a trade manager and you can just sell it like you used to at a different guy for a slight profit, or you could bring it to your workers who can make it into something else, and then you sell the new product for even more profit. It wouldn't really take that much effort, right? And I think people might enjoy playing the part of a small business owner. So that's just my small idea of what I think trading could be. I briefly mentioned the problem with farming in my last Lifeskills Silver video. In my opinion, it needs a bigger incentive to actively farm. You could make watering and taking care of your crops a more active and more rewarding part of the farming process. And if you really wanted to make it active, you could give it some sort of a tower defense vibe. So imagine moles that you just now kill would actively attack your farms in waves. Or you can have bandits trying to steal your crops and run away with them. It would have to be something that you can just turn on and off, since otherwise it might lose the chill appeal of farming and you would have to stop what you are doing to go defend your crops. But I still think it's something worth fantasizing about. Sailing and bartering, I think, just needs a substantial update that's not just more ships. Make pirates an actual threat, give us more island, and maybe don't limit bartering to just 3 or 4 resets per day. Frankly, I don't do bartering or sailing very much though, so if any of you sea dogs have your own ideas, I will be very happy to hear them as well. Similarly, I don't do horses almost at all. I am just trying to get into them. So if any horse girls are watching this video, feel free to comment your thoughts. Finally, we have fishing. Oh boy. AFK fishing should go up by maybe 1 or 200 million per night. I kind of talked about this in my previous Lifeskills video, but the amount of money it makes, even considering that it's a fully AFK activity with basically no setup at all, is just completely laughable, and it's by no way worth the electricity bill. Now, Active fishing, on the other hand, needs Jesus. Active fishing needs God. There is no way I can ever help active fishing. There's just no helping it. Take it behind the barn, shoot it in the bag. No, just increase everything about it. If I had to just increase everything, increase the price of the fish, reduce the time to catch the fish, increase the chance to catch the rare fish, increase the chance to catch multiple fish at once. Everything just needs to go up, way up. Ocean hotspot should last longer, but like active fishing is just doomed. If you are doing active fishing, I pray for you. Those are the life skills in relative isolation, but there are two more changes that I would make to them in general. One of them you have been probably waiting the entire video for me to mention, and it's to increase the mastery cap. In my opinion, having more than 2000 mastery would rejuvenate the life skill gear economy, and it would give people a reason to get Pen Manos accessories or even Guru 100. If you really wanted to push this and go way above, you could even introduce new life skill sets, so not just a single armor, but actually gloves, helmets, boots, etc. Or to go even further and introduce new life skills weapons to make it even more spicier. And these weapons you can then use for those crabs and treants and everything that I mentioned previously, right? I think that would be pretty cool. Now, there is one more core issue with life skills that I want to mention, but I believe this is a bit more controversial. I would like to see life skill content become more engaging. Now, this doesn't mean that gathering needs to turn into Valheim or that farming needs to become Plants vs Zombies, but I think that many people would appreciate life skills more and many people would see life skills in a better light if they weren't, just for the most part, about pressing R or being AFK. Now, I don't want it to be like RuneScape where you have to click every time you do something, and I think that AFK activities have their place in BDO and they should stay that way. So cooking and fishing and alchemy and all that, I think is fine. But if you look at the general outlook from non-life skillers whenever they talk about life skills, you will almost never hear any flack about hunting. And I think it's exactly because it is basically the only engaging life skill out there. But then if you look at every other life skill, it's just, oh, you're just pressing R, or you're just AFK, or you don't have to worry about dying, you don't have expensive crystals that break, etc, etc, right? With hunting, you almost never hear this sort of sentiment. So having more engaging content for those other life skills would be a good way to not only help them improve, but also to help players try them out. Alright, handsome, that is it for today. I hope you liked this video. It was once again a little bit different from my usual content. I needed a break from all the spreadsheets and I bet you did too. Next video will be a start of a long-running series on the channel that, once again, I just need to repeat, I am going to be streaming over at twitch.tv, so go check me out there, give me a follow, become truly handsome, and I will hope to see you there. Like I said in the beginning, I usually stream in the EU evening time, so at around 6 to 7 p.m. CEST to, depending on the day, usually at around 10 to 11, sometimes longer p.m. Do let me know what your own opinions and ideas on life skills are. I am very excited to hear your comments. I really want to know if you agree with any of this, and once again I know that none of this will really happen, so it's just make-believe. But I still think it's interesting to talk about and have a conversation about this. That's it. Remember to like and subscribe, and enjoy your grind.